Well, see, so here's the deal. You got to look at E3 different ways. One, is it maybe from an outside person who does not own the system yet? Is it for them? Is it for somebody who has it already? It's probably for both of them. In this case, I felt like Nintendo's presentation was for somebody who already has the system. Now, that's a bad thing or a good thing, but for me, I might be somewhere in the middle, but ultimately, hell no. I'm gonna lean towards the bad because let me tell you, a lot of the games, at least in their presentation, there wasn't any particular game this year that was like, hey, buy me. Even Star Fox, and
Yeah.
that hurts me to say because I love Star Fox a whole lot. And let me tell you why. Star Fox Zero, yeah, the video was pretty cool. It's great that they're teaming with Platinum Games to make this title. Right now, there's no form of multiplayer at all. What's up? I mean, that's a problem for me. That's a big problem. N64 had local 4-on-4.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Nintendo that really bugs me. We got news of another Zelda game that's going to be a co-op Zelda game. That's cool. I'm not dissing on that, but we already know about another Zelda game that they've already announced. Where was that information? Where was more of that?
Mm.
What happened? What happened there? How come there was no new information about this Zelda game that's supposed to be an open world Zelda game?
And see, what they said is they don't like to post information at their E3 presentations about games that aren't coming out shortly, at least the following year.
What?
So that is they saying Zelda's not going to come till 2017? Is that what they're saying? Like, what the hell?
Well, because that would be ridiculous unless they're going to postpone it, which would be miraculous in my opinion. That they're going to postpone it for their NX, whatever that might be, which I doubt. I doubt they would postpone it for another console, but it just doesn't seem. We haven't had a Zelda game for this console. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't.
That was the iceberg for me so far as getting the system. Like I was telling KJ, you know, out of
Okay.
all the games that really drive me to, oh shoot, can't hear me.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't.
You're good.
Now I got
All right, so of all the games that would drive me to get the system, that would be it. That's the one thing I anticipated so far from the conference. But if you're telling me 2017, right? And by the time other developers get comfortable with the other forms of tech that's out there, whether it's PC, Xbox One, or PS4, how is that going to compete? Yeah, video games is about gameplay and graphics. But seriously, the titles that might come out by the time that title comes out, how am I going to be attracted to that besides just nostalgia? I feel they rely heavy on nostalgia when they have an arsenal of characters instead of making, Rumble games or, bundling them up and put them in games together, give the other cats some time to shine and build different teams so you can have these people working on these different games instead of always relying on that. Because now I feel like we're just holding on to these 3 or 4 characters, waiting for their game, and then there's things like that. KJ's more familiar with the company, where
Mm.
you can anticipate that perhaps maybe tail end of 2016 or the first quarter of 2017.
The problem is though is any company other than Nintendo for whatever reason has failed at every account to make a game where you bring together memorable characters and put them in a rumble situation. PlayStation Battles or what is it? Battle Stars Royale or whatever it's called, All Stars Royale. It was a terrible game.
you. That was real bad.
Terrible. And how could you fail at bringing so many great Sony or PlayStation characters together and making a game out of that? Like all they got to do is take the same format from Smash Brothers and put it on PlayStation, but they just couldn't do it.
I think the last time that Sony came out with a game that was supposed to rival something that Nintendo was doing that actually was enjoyable was when they did Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, yeah.
How long ago was that? You know,
So-
like that's It's like what, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, somewhere in there. Like that's right in between. Like that's a while ago, and that was the last time you did something in my mind that was a direct competitor to like Mario Kart. You know?
Maybe Little Big Planet. I think probably something I think about. The Sackboy is a pretty iconic character at this point.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, but I mean, it's just Nintendo has been just doing weird things for the last several years now, and it's just people still keep buying their stuff, but they're like, how are you still like a video game developer? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And
It's still relevant. That's
and the
the
thing
ultimate
is,
question.
I guess another reason why I was so disappointed with Star Fox is because Splatoon is so awesome. It is so good. The online is super smooth. It is fun and addicting, and I was just expecting that same type of experience to translate to Star Fox. That didn't happen in any capacity because Star Fox is a single player right now.
yeah. Well, if you want to talk about Splatoon briefly, the fact that Splatoon was featured in the Nintendo World Challenge or whatever, that was pretty sweet to see that being utilized. Although I could have done with a little less of the 9-year-old kid trying to, cast the. I mean, I know it's a kids stuff, but still, like, these kids don't know what they're talking about. They just see something cool and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Like, use that gun,"
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so Splatoon is their biggest thing right now, and it's new and it's great. It just seems to be hard pressed for a lot of companies to come out with any new, real solid IPs that are just solid from these AAA companies. As where and I feel like it's a reflection too of the entertainment industry in general. Because if you look at movies, it's just like, here we go, here's another remake, rehash, reboot, something, redone to death thing, and here we go again. But Nintendo, I think for me they showed some promise. They had a few things that were definitely interesting, but I think the one thing that I was looking forward to was the new Zelda, and they had nothing. Uh, and that surprised me a lot.
I mean, we know it's coming out, so we know it's not coming out this year, but at least show a brother something. You know.
Well, there goes knowledge. He may or may not be back. We'll see.
You need new leadership. You need something that can recognize. Yes, you want to appeal to a younger audience, but you also have an audience that's been with you for quite a long time. Make something that'll cater to them. I know they like to let third party handle that, but there should be someone on the team that knows that if you sort of mix that, you can come up with a lot of great concepts. I know Platinum Games had a game in particular. I was talking to KG about. Was it the 101? You remember
Yeah,
that
the
one,
wonderful
KJ?
101.
That looked amazing to me. That was something that almost initially made me purchase it, but I held back because I was thinking to myself, I'm gonna need more than one title. I'm gonna need a couple,
Sure.
and I'm still waiting for a couple more. But if they change leadership, or at least hire people that recognize that it's not just about catering to a particular age, but that you have people that are growing with you, have grown with you, and you cater to them instead of letting them handle it. I think they might be
Well,
more successful.
and here's
The
another thing
Western
I want to mention
attitude.
too is that you got a legend, Itagaki. He's making the game Devil's Third. Okay, and it's coming exclusively on Wii U. You got your multiplayer team deathmatch, but also has a single player. To me, it's like his answer to Ninja Gaiden 3 because he wasn't able, obviously he left the company, Tecmo. So that would have been something hard hitting, to put into the presentation. And also, there is a Fatal Frame game coming out, guys. That would have been definitely something for the hardcore because that's just, you don't get more horror than Fatal Frame. So that would have been something else to display. But they really focused a lot around Mario. And I understand it's the 30th anniversary of the fella, but it was too much Mario and too much just on Mario Maker. Mario Maker just doesn't really interest me as much as your typical Mario game. That's just me. Don't have to agree, but that's one part.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that they did something with the Mario Maker stuff, but really at the end of the day, I think most people only found what Nintendo did with the whole the Jim Henson Muppet stuff. Like that was entertaining to a degree, but really that's all that Nintendo really brought this year, which is why it was underwhelming, right? It was very underwhelming. I thought Xbox's stuff was underwhelming. I mean, let's talk about that. What did you guys think about Microsoft with their stuff?
Go ahead, man.
They kind of the same, but also too they need to be recognized for the improvements they've made compared to where they were at last year. It's become like popular to rag on them, but I have to give them props. They know their market. They know how to make a hell of a presentation, a demonstration, what have you, and they don't get outside of their comfort level. It's a bad thing, but a good thing at the same token, because if you recognize what they're doing, they're setting you up to get accustomed to thinking E3 is about what's going down this year, not something that's going to happen in 6 years, 5 years, or whatever.
Sure.
What's happening now.
Sure.
They'll tease you with a variety of different things. They've cut back on the Connect. They cut back on talking to you about numbers. They give you gameplay, not just a montage of video trailers. They discuss things off of the actual showcase that made them really compelling and interesting. Things that they're bringing to the table, like I was laughing with KJ. They have a system in place called Trill that's supposed to automate updates for multiplayer and fish out bugs. The HoloLens, they showed Minecraft on stage because they knew that would appeal to the kids. More hardcore tender things with the HoloLens. It was weird for me because they started with Halo and they usually close with that. So it seems like they're transitioning into drawing more attention towards Gears. They had love for indies. They had a well-rounded assortment that wasn't just catered to one niche. And compared to where they were last year, competing against, the hatred and what they were doing that was rightfully deserved, how they were basically shitting on gamers. Now they're in a position where, shoot, they dropped people don't want to say it's a bomb, but I think it's a bomb, backwards compatibility. Just like KJ said, that was a big one.
I think that's a big one that needs to be talked about, because some people are like, well, what do I care about these old games? Why do I want to play old games? I want to play new games. Well, that's not the point, right? The point is people, have been playing the 360 for such a long time, and it was such a solid system with it's got a decent library of games. And, the fact is people don't want to keep multiple consoles around, but they still want to keep the games that they like, around. So having the ability to be like, oh, look, I can just go ahead and play this on my Xbox One now. I don't need to keep my 360 anymore.
Let me buy the new one.
I'll just go ahead and switch over. And that, I think, some people are like, that might be a selling point. It might not be. I think it's going to be a selling point for people. I think it definitely opens up the door. It's kind of like that selling point with, like, Nintendo. I was like, Nintendo, I want a Zelda game. Give me a Zelda game. I'll buy a Nintendo. No Zelda game, it's going to be a hard press to sell for me. Backwards compatibility on the Xbox One, that kind of piques my interest a little bit, even though I'm not a console gamer. I do have a 360.
I take that very serious. They even said it was their most requested thing to be added to the Xbox One. Like, that was, from all the fan feedback, that was it at the highest. And did you hear the pop from the crowd when he announced that? Like, that crowd was like I was watching Stone Cold Steve Austin drop the stunner on somebody. Like, it was like, like they was like, what I'm saying? So I think a lot more people care about it than they'd like to admit. I love backwards compatibility, man. Every system should go back at least one gen, in my opinion.
Well, here's two things about this, though. I wanna talk about briefly. So with Microsoft, we're gonna get into the PC and the console aspects here. So Microsoft is getting ready to bring out Windows 10, and with Windows 10, they're gonna be putting that on there. There's gonna be a phone version, tablet version, laptop version, whatever. It's this operating system that's going to essentially run on all of their devices, including the Xbox One, right? The other thing that they're doing with the Xbox One is they're letting you stream, which I find this to be extremely bizarre because I feel like it's backwards. But they're going to allow you to stream your gameplay from your console to your PC, and now there's reverse compatibility. Um, but the reverse compatibility has me wondering whether or not this was something that was always like available but not turned on, or if it's going to be something where they're patching it with this new software that's coming out because to emulate these old games to make them work. I'm kind of curious about that because if it is the second of the two with emulation, someone's going to hack that, which means somewhere down the road we're going to be able to actually play 360 games on the computer with an emulator. So,
and that's what off of the conference. There actually are emulating, but they're not just emulating. There are some changes, in particular to a game they have to make as a part of that emulation because they're essentially running that within the system as software, right?
mm-hmm.
The only games that they're having issues with are the music game because of course the USB port, but they're completely emulating the whole entire thing within Windows 10, and some of the games they are, even though not using USBs, having to make modifications in order for it to run within that emulator, within that other software. So,
But here's the thing too, they're gonna be slick about it because if you notice the way they're rationing off, there's like a little chunk of backwards compatible titles right now, and they're gonna slowly trickle it down. Like you can't play Gears backwards at all. Why is that? Gears Remastered is coming out. You can't backwards Halo right now. Why is that? Master Chief Collection is out. So they're slick about it, but at least they're doing something with it.
Well, let's talk about that Gears real quick. That Gears Remaster, surprisingly enough, is coming to the PC. I'm going to say this right here on the show. What the fuck?
I'm just saying, buddy, that's the one shooter game where if you're on my team, you have a pretty good chance of winning. So, brother, you want to be on my side. And that's real.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Why are we bringing Gears of War to the PC? Why? The fans...
Be happy. I don't know.
But like, it's just like, sure, great, we're getting another console game on our whatever, but like the one thing that PC gamers really want, and I'm telling you right now, it's gonna make them so much money if they were to be like, okay, well, we're gonna bring Halo to the PC. So much money, but they're not gonna do it. I know they're not gonna do it, so I'm not gonna get into that argument, but I'm just saying, like, why bring Gears? Why bring Gears over? Like, it's not what we want.
it might be a way to beta test the eventuality of Halo coming. Who knows? But in regards to that, they kind of gave the PC a Halo. They had that Russian version of Halo that's only available in Russia, that multiplayer that people were hacking to play.
Are you guys reading chat right now on Twitch? This is really funny.
No.
Gimbino says, "Yeah, I heard there's new software for Xbox One called a Queef Cookie." There's also a new character in the remastered Gears. His name is Queef Cookie.
Queef Cookie.
Oh, jeez, man! You guys,
He's the sizzler for that.
You guys in chat crack me up. I swear to God. Anyway, yeah, so Microsoft, okay, the HoloLens, by the way, I'm not impressed, and I'm not interested. So, I'll tell you why. It's because with the HoloLens, you're limited on your environment. You're limited in your surroundings onto how effective that thing's going to be, which is why I'm more excited for the VR technologies, because I can get thrown into massive worlds with almost out any limit, and But that's just me. I mean, it's great technology, innovative, cool. It's great, but like I'm just not interested.
Well, I think it was smart on Microsoft's part to partner up with Oculus because that's something that has been tested for years. So it should have a pretty smooth launch. So you do have that complete virtual experience, but there's also this HoloLens, which me personally I think is going to be pretty cool. It just depends on who's designing the games for it and how they use this HoloLens. Because if you got the wrong person, it's going to be stupid. But I think that it could really just, if not fully enhance a game, just subtly, just even the slightest thing, just a little Minority Report action going on while I'm playing my first person shooter. Like if I'm playing Halo and I'm actually, I got the visor and the menus all over here and all that. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming, but don't count it out yet, man.
HoloLens actually interact with it versus, for example, the 3D experiences I've had with games like Crisis. I loved it. Looked fantastic. But, with 3D glasses, you can't interact with it. I think if they approach it from that space, like KJ said, you're playing in the game, you're in a Warthog or whatever game you are, and you affect the vehicle by pressing buttons on the HUD, one hand on the controller, one hand on that. It's something that may add to the experience, or they might be able to, with that technology, actually have projectiles head in your direction, not in the way that it works with standard 3D, which, as immersive as it was in Crisis, there were limitations. So perhaps with the HoloLens, they'll be able to do things that, much like a plasma TV, it's a great looking TV. There are limitations to it. You do have to be in a dark room to really get the full on benefits of it. It'll be a technology like that, but something that might not be matched by another form of technology, or something that'll facilitate what KJ said, another form of interaction for those that perhaps don't want to have something like that, because though it is appealing to some of us, some people might not want to be immersed to that level. So they're giving you an alternative, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see it when it comes out, but I'm still more of the VR guy. So Microsoft, you had some interesting stuff. Still a little underwhelming, just like Nintendo. I mean, you knew what to show, but it was nothing too extremely new or just oh shit. Other than hey, reverse compatibility. Because we already knew about the HoloLens. We already knew that was a thing. They just kind of showed more of it. We already knew that Halo 5 was coming out. They just kind of showed the trailer and whatnot. But I think really the only thing new that was announced that was really interest of me was the reverse compatibility, at least. You guys got anything else from Microsoft that you liked?
A little
actually save it for later.
Game. That's about it.
Which game was it, Vex?
There's the one that they were making people walk the plank. I'm just interested to see what approach they take to that.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about Sony. Sony dropped a big announcement that got everybody's heartstrings going, which was this Final Fantasy VII remake. You guys excited?
Well, I'm not the biggest RPG fan, but I appreciate the I have a lot of friends that really like this game, so I appreciate the characters. I've seen Advent Children, so I have nothing against it, and I understand why people are hyped about it. But one thing I like to mention is that, and this is not from a fanboy thing, but people are saying how it's just exclusively on PS4, but it's actually timed. It is coming to Xbox One also, so both system owners will be able to enjoy it.
I think it's coming to PC as well.
Oh, probably that too, man.
From what I understand, I think it's coming to PC. Final Fantasy VII, it's a good game. It's a great game. It has a great story. It's iconic. I guess because of all the remakes and the reboots and all those things that are coming out these days, I guess I'd have to say that I wasn't like wowed about it. Just like, oh, cool, they're remaking Final Fantasy VII with modern technology. That's cool. Like I wasn't. It didn't surprise me. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really get my inner child all revved up again about it. But I mean, it's cool that they're doing it. Good, good for them. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, So, what about you, Vex? Are you excited about it?
I feel the same way. I don't knock it because I too have friends that are really excited for it, but it didn't move the needle for me because my background is different in gaming. But it's cool that it's actually not just a HD remake, but they're actually overhauling a lot of stuff. So if it gets the same tender loving care the Master Chief got in terms of Halo 2, kudos to them. Hopefully they do it.
What'd you guys think of this last Guardian stuff?
Mixed feelings. I've been wanting that game for a while, but to show something 6 years later and it's not ridiculously different so far as a leap, I was like, okay, but at least it's coming out. I'm curious to see what they do with it when they actually show more. I like what they showed, but I with the way that game was played with my emotions, I'll believe it when I have it in my hand.
I like what I saw, and I'm hoping that it is because what I saw visual wise, like it looks good. Of course, like I like the art direction, but I think like it could be done on both systems. Like I'm hoping that there is a PS3 version also for folks, as well as that PlayStation 4. I like how just the overall presentation. How there's no HUDs going on the screen. It just really I think is more of a cinematic experience. But let me tell you what hit and hit hard is that Horizon video game. That looks amazing, guys.
Which one was this one again?
It's like a third person one where she was in nature. She was getting attacked by robot dinosaurs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, no, it took me a second. You said as soon as you said robot dinosaurs, I was like, oh, right, that one. Gotcha.
I had trouble remembering the name too, but that's one that really stood out to me because it's not only a new IP, but the IP that's making that is recognized for working on a whole different style of game. So it's them not only bringing something new to the table, but challenging themselves, and that's really refreshing to see developers step outside of their comfort zone and bring something, kind of how Platinum Games does. Their games are always very versatile and different. It's good to see them challenging themselves internally and bringing something that I didn't even expect that at all. Something new to the table, something fresh, and that's something that I want for more conferences or developers. It's just something that blows your mind.
I think Media Molecule did the same thing with their game Dreams. They just, they obviously have done Little Big Planet, and now they come out with this game where you paint, and then you can watch as it comes to life. And the fact that it's happening on PS4, like the paintbrush visuals are just going to look that much more detailed. And I also believe that you'll be able to share artwork with others. So I mean, honestly, if you're really beastly at drawing, oh my goodness, can you imagine some of the pieces that are going to come out? Woo!
I'm calling it already that the art community will probably back that in some major way because, like KJ said, there's people out there that are gonna flex on that, and that's probably gonna be recognized by the art community because just what they were showing was sick. Like it was really impressive, and then that you can bring motion to it, that takes it to a whole nother level.
That's it's pretty exciting stuff, guys. Like I said, this year the gamers are getting a lot from these companies, and I think that's pretty awesome. One of the things I'm really excited for was the announcement. They showed it at the Sony thing, but No Man's Sky. I'm really excited for No Man's Sky as it's coming out on the PC, and they finally confirmed that it's coming out on the PC at the same time as the PS4 version, and I've been waiting for this game. There's something about the fact that you can go from being in your spaceship on a space, like you're in a spaceship, you get in like a fighter, you can go out and you can fly, and then you can fly down to the planet, you can land, you can get out and do crap or whatever it is that you get. Like the fact that they figured out how to do that seamlessly uh, boggles my mind. And as a sci-fi guy, as a nerd, like I'm all about this.
You're also going to keep getting different planets all the time. Like, I think the game, like, replay value on that's probably going to be really sick.
Well, that's just it, right? So they showed the galaxy map. So it renders a new galaxy every time you do it, and the options are just limitless into where you can go, and no one person will ever be able to see every single planet that there is. As a matter of fact, they said it's impossible.
Wow.
Challenge accepted.
Dude, like if you watch the video that I've got going right now, if you go back and watch this Twitch stream, hi, I'm new here. What's up? Welcome to the Twitch stream. If you go back and watch this Twitch video, and you see the demo that they showed where they panned out and they showed all these little dots, they represent stars, and each one of those stars has a planet, it'll blow your mind. And each one of those stars you can go and visit, and all those planets is a possibility for you to go and visit, but there's no possible way for you to be able to go and see all of them. It's crazy the depth that they're putting into this. And the fact, I don't know, it seems to be a little overwhelming that it's that big, but at the same time, like why would I play something that's impossible to explore everything? But
My only concern is that the gameplay doesn't get repetitive. Like, yeah, you'll be on a different planet, but maybe let's say just the rocks are colored differently, but that counts. You see what I'm saying? I hope.
I follow you. I follow you.
Yeah, the enemies you fight too continue to be varied.
See, this planet has a purple zebra, but this planet has a yellow zebra. Like,
you see what I'm saying? Because that's how Coated Arms was. It was this little shooter on PSP, and yes, the level generated differently all the time, but I mean, they just would slide like a table over someplace, and the stairways would be different here. But essentially playing the same garbage game. Now, No Man's Sky has a lot of potential. Way more than Coated Arms ever did. But I'm just here to make a point about it.
No, and that's a valid point, because like Diablo 2 suffered from this, and some RPGs suffer from this. But like you get to a different area and you're fighting the same monsters, but they're just different colored monsters because they represent different levels of difficulty. You're just like, all right, it's these goat people, but they're different goat people. Like, but anyway, yeah, no, I follow you. The repetitiveness is something that you got to be careful about. I definitely agree.
Destiny.
So let's talk about Destiny. What's up, Vex? Talk about Destiny.
No, it's a good transition. Hope it don't suffer from what Destiny suffers. I'm sitting here.
Knowledge isn't here to defend himself.
And not really feeling it. Like, I thought these expansion packs would bring new planets and things of that nature, but I find myself fighting the same enemies in half the places I fight them in. I've played a million times over and over and over, and you go get bounties every week in the same places, and I just saw the announcement for this king, or you're gonna fight the father of the guy whose butt you just whooped.
The Taken
Pay
King.
$40. The Taken King. You pay $40 to. Hopefully, I hope when this new content comes out, it's new planets. Because I would hate for you to go right back to the reef, end up on Mars, end up on the moon, end up on Earth. Like, come on, we've seen that. How many other planets are there in the solar system? Is it that difficult? And this was my concern when Bungie joined Activision, and it seems to be coming to fruition where we're getting skimped.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like EA type stuff where you just, they come out with new content, you guys spend all this money. Um, it's not really a new game, it's an add-on and all this other
Right.
stuff.
If I don't say this right now, I might forget, but and this is something no one's touched on. I have not read a single thing about it. Where is the love for the Vita again this year? I was watching Sony's presentation. They did one little side off the wall camera shot from a far distance of the Vita screen and just little games playing all of this stuff. But it's still ultimately it feels like if I was just to have bought that system, man, I really feel like I wasted some money. And that's just me being honest. Where is the support for this little powerful machine?
The Vita is definitely a powerful device, and it's a wonder why it doesn't get more reputation, more like exposure. But yeah, that's a strange one, KJ. Like I don't get it myself. I've got myself an Nvidia Shield, and it's a really powerful device too. Um, but it's just not. I think mobile style gaming is just rough on people right now because these cell phones are definitely just taking a chunk of the market. They're not necessarily you know destroying the market, but they're definitely taking a good chunk of the market. Um,
Yeah, Clash of Clans, Candy Crush,
I don't even want to talk
killing
about Clash of Clans, dude. I don't even.
it.
I don't.
I work in retail, and since the popularity of tablets and smartphones has gone up, Vita has really suffered. Nintendo has still held on strong for some reason. I mean, perhaps like I said, they have a strong market in that, and they're more than likely to buy their kid a Nintendo device than have them have accessibility to a smartphone. But I really think that unfortunately, in the next couple of years, it's either going to be just Nintendo in that space, or Nintendo's going to move over to the Android and the iMac space or what have you, and start making their stuff accessible in those markets.
Well, here's my thoughts on this, right? So the gaming market is seeing a unique shift with Android kind of coming into play, right? And what I mean by Android is you're starting to get some Android based consoles coming out. You got the Nvidia Shield console that's come out. You have the Razer Forge TV that's come out. It started with the Ouya, which unfortunately those guys didn't do so well.
Yeah.
But and the Razer product's not getting the greatest reviews right now either. But yet at the same time, these products are coming out and they're being developed. And the Nvidia Shield console is actually getting some pretty decent feedback from the reviewers out there on this product. And Android gaming is definitely coming, and it's coming hard. And these mobile games, um, Android games like they have Knights of the Old Republic can be played on my Android devices now. Like that's a pretty cool feat like that has happened. An Android base is based on Linux, and they just now got support for the CryEngine on Linux. So you might start to see some of that coming the Android way if you have a powerful enough technology. Like it's just all that shift in the mobile market, and it's unfortunate the Vita. I mean, I know it's a powerful device, but it's just like that weird random device in the
Yeah,
market.
that's
Um,
what's become of it, man.
so and it's weird how like you have something that's a great piece of technology, but it just kind of gets overshadowed by the flood of something else that's not necessarily better, but it's just it's there's just more of it.
Right.
So it's that's unfortunate. Um, So we've talked about the big three. We've talked about a couple of these things. KG, you got some other thoughts. I can tell you've got some
Well,
other thoughts
well,
brewing.
homeboy, let me tell you, we are not done with Sony because that Uncharted presentation at the
Oh,
end was ridiculous. I mean, that reminded me of Bad Boys 2, man. You know what I'm talking about when that Hummer come rolling through the city. They had that going on with the Jeep in this Uncharted preview. I mean, you can see the details and the player models. That was blown away. Rise of the Tomb Raider, like that was crushing Tomb Raider with the facial visuals and man, that game needs to get out. That's all I have to say about that.
Uncharted. It's one of those games that series that I've unfortunately not been able to play yet. Like I not that I don't want to. It's just haven't gotten to it. You know.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Sorry, I rained on your parade there. Vex, go ahead, man.
Oh no, I said it's something you must play. It's well produced. I mean, the progression in each game is leaps and bounds. Though I preferred, because of nostalgia and the way I felt about the story, 2 over 3. I still got to give props in the leaps technologically was what they squeezed out of the PlayStation in each iteration. And that's a developer that I'm sad this is their last Uncharted. But I'm also hyped because I've seen what they've done outside of Uncharted, and what are they gonna do now? You know, where are they headed?
Sure.
That's a developer I'm really hyped for. I'm really hyped to play this because it's gonna be the end of a legacy. But I'm also anticipating what are they gonna do with their talent, because they got a
They're
lot
like
of talent.
the Pixar of the gaming universe. You know, they continually try new things and they hit. You know.
Yeah, I feel you. Anything else from Sony, guys?
Well, you know they dropped that Shenmue 3, man. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah.
I did it on purpose to get Vex talking, man.
Because I'm not getting this whole having a dude come out there beg for money to make a game for your system, and then as the days pass by, you trickle out information like, "Oh, we're funding it too." Then why you need my money? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, perhaps there's things of the development cycle they want me to pay for, and I spoke to a friend about this, and he educated me on the situation where, depending on what you donate, you get from the company, right? Whether it's 60, you might get the whole game when it come out, or if it's 25, you might get a hat, right? But why make such a big deal, right? And have the guy out there like, you know, essentially begging. That's the vibe I got off of him. And then you saying you're throwing in money too. It's like you and your boys, right? You're in the apartment. Hey man, let's get a pizza. Yeah. But I ain't got all the money though. All right, the pizza's $30. How much you putting in? $2.50. Like, is that what's gonna happen? Like, they only put in a portion and we gotta get the rest of the pizza, man? Like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
you're so money, you got clout. Why just not back the whole thing off a jump? Instead of having that, was that a ploy to get attention? Like, I really wasn't vibing with that.
I feel like this was their way to try and see if they couldn't kickstart like a console game. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time? Most of the time when I hear of somebody kickstarting a game, it's more or less for like the PC or the mobile market or
It's
something like that,
indie folk.
or indie games. Like, this is the first time I'm just like, wow, they really try to crowdfund like a AAA title or quote unquote AAA title. Like,
You know, this isn't an indie thing, man, and they did that. I mean, of course it's going to shatter Kickstart records. You left part 2 on the biggest cliffhanger of all time. People love 1 and 2. I mean, the fact that it shattered records shouldn't be news, and I really, I'm kind of with Vex. I'm in the same ship, man, about the whole funding.
I wonder if that means that Valve is going to come out and kickstart Half-Life 3 or some stupid shit like that.
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, Hunter, you shut your mouth. Uh,
Dave Newell rubbing his chin right now, like, yeah, man.
well, all right.
Yeah, that's what the one thing I wanted to see this year was Half-Life 3 and nothing.
Yeah, don't even start holding your breath. I've given up trying to hold out hope for that one. You want to talk about a cliffhanger? That one's got one. Half-Life 2 Episode 2, like, damn, like, way to end the game on a serious down beat. Like, yikes. That just made mention of you wanted to talk about Call of Duty. I want to say, we talked briefly about games where there's just sequels and remakes and all this stuff. What did you guys think of the new Assassin's Creed?
Shoot me now. Like, I love that franchise. You saw the piece I wrote for the site. It's like, Ubisoft, what are you doing, man? You got so many other things you can draw from. And it seems like they kind of did it a little bit. This E3, they brought back Ghost Recon in a whole different